Hey there, it's Kathy with Be Creative with Kathy, and in this video we're going to do some mystery stamping. So let me explain mystery stamping. I'm going to take a few minutes and try to explain it while I see if anybody comes on. I heard there was a couple of you that might join me for mystery stamping, but it's where I send out the measurements, as you can see, and then you cut your paper from what you have in your stash. You use your stamps from what you have in your stash, and then we all compare the cards that we come up with, because they're all going to be different considering that we're all using, wait, I'm going to try to get my cameras, there we go, now my camera, anyway, then we can all compare cards and go from there. And mystery stamping is usually pretty fun. I've never done mystery stamping live on a video like this, so if you know, I do live on Facebook, and then I post all my Facebook lives onto YouTube. So if you're looking for me, you can find me on Be Creative with Kathy on Facebook, or Be Creative with Kathy on YouTube. Now, if you want the measurements and to see what my card looks like at the end, after I'm done tonight doing my Facebook Live, then I post it to YouTube and I put it on my gallery, BeCreativeWithKathy.com, and all the measurements and the pictures of the card that I make today, not the samples that I have for you for after our video, because I think I have 8 cards to show you with different bundles that I used the same layout and made a bunch of cards. So I'm happy, I'm kind of looking forward to sharing that with you later. So what I thought, and since this is new, I'm going to try to do it once a month. The second Tuesday of the month, my team and I, at our team meeting, we do mystery stamping. So then the Monday after the second Tuesday, I will do mystery stamping here live on Facebook. So hi Connie, thank you for watching. I meant to get my iPad out and maybe I could catch, do I want to still, let me, hang on a second, let me get my iPad, and maybe that way I could, if I can find my iPad, okay, I don't know where it's at. I'm not gonna, next time I'll get my iPad, and so I'll do better at catching comments. I'll try to do the best I can to catch them today, but let's just go on. Okay, so we're gonna cut, well, we're not gonna cut all of our paper, but we're gonna go piece by piece. So the first one on our mystery stamping is a piece of cardstock that is 8.5 by 5.5. And I have that piece, I believe it is this one, and we're going to go ahead and score it together. So I'm going to score it at, let's see, it says 4 1/4, so I'm going to have the 8.5 at the top, and I'm going to score at 4 1/4. Let me put this out because we will need this too. Okay, let's try again, 4 1/4. Now I'm making sure that my dark cutting blade is gone, because knowing me, I will cut my paper instead of score it, and I don't want to do that. I'm going to have to start over. Okay, 4 1/4, and then at 5 1/2. And what we're doing is we're scoring it at every 1 1/4 inches. So 5 1/2, and then the next one is 6 3/4. Like, let me get it right at 6 3/4. There we go, and then 8. So again, those measurements are 4 1/4, 5 1/2, 6 3/4, and 8 inches. And you can see that's on my measurements right here. Now, I posted on my Facebook page the measurements yesterday. So if you're interested in, you know, doing a mystery stamping with us, sorry, I'll always post them, like I said, the Sunday before my Facebook Live. So that way, if you want to join me, you can have those measurements. And then after my videos, when I'll put them on my gallery, so in case you want to make more cards and you don't have this, you can find it there. So, okay, so I have all those score lines, and now I'm going to just first fold my card in half, because we're going to burnish or fold release all those score marks. And I'm making sure to keep my cardstock like even at the top and the bottom. So if you are here and you decided to join me for mystery stamping, place a comment. And if I don't tell you hello, like I did to Connie, hello Connie, it means I missed your comment. Just comment again so I can see it, because I have trouble doing 2 things at once, let's be honest. Okay, so there's all my score lines, right? You can see them now because they're folded. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to do it one more time. I want these to be really, really crisp, because it'll make our card work better in the long run. Okay, there we go. Now, in the same cardstock color, we need a piece that says here that is 4 by 2 3/4. And I have that one here. And then we need a coordinating cardstock that is 10.5 by 2 3/4. So let's cut that now. Hi Rod, thank you for watching. So we're going to take, I have a piece here of Cloudy Sky. That's going to be my coordinating color. And I'm going to just, this is a full sheet of cardstock, so it's 8.5 by 11. And I'm going to cut it first with the 8.5 at the top at 2 3/4. Is that what we said? Just, I'm sure that's what it is, but I'm going to check it. 2 3/4. And cut that. And then we need it down to 10.5. So let's turn it this way and cut it at 10.5. So really, you could also look this way. We're only cutting off a 1/2 inch from that 11-inch paper, cardstock, whatever. And then we're going to score it at 5 1/4, which is in half. So get rid of my cutting blade, and we're just going to score right there. And now we have the coordinating piece of cardstock there. Okay, let's go ahead and fold that. Where'd my bone folder go? Here it is. And now we have that piece there. So now we have 3 pieces. Okay, now the next piece is our designer series paper. Now I said a piece of 6 by 6 because some of our cardstock comes in 6 by 6 and some of it comes in 12 by 12. A 6 by 6 is just easier to go from there. But if you don't have a 6 by 6, you could use scraps and stuff like that. Just watch the measurements, and maybe I'll make sure when I put it on my gallery to put what I cut that down to. Okay, I'm going to use, as I throw it in my desk, this beautiful gallery paper. I thought that this paper that has like these, the whole thing is covered with a pattern or the design. I thought this would be really pretty. And I've kind of picked out a pattern. Let's see, there's the flower vases. That would work. I think this is a pretty scene too. Let's keep going. Let me find it. Really, really pretty paper. And this one's been around a while, so I don't imagine, nope, not that one. Nope, nope, nope. But anyways, I was saying, here it is. I don't imagine this being around very much longer. So if this is a paper that you really want, I would get it now. And who knows, maybe I'm wrong. This is where I got my colors from, is on the back. Cloud Cover and Secret Sea are 2 of the colors in my designer series paper. That's where I got the idea for my cardstock. You want to see the rest of them? Look how pretty that one is. And there's the back. Let's look at this one. Look how pretty that is. And the back. This one I made a card out. I'll show you later after we do this card. That one's really pretty, and there's the back. Ooh, I love that wash. There's another pretty one. There's the back. And then this one in the back. Okay, there. Now we've seen all the designer series paper. Let's set that aside and cut our paper. So the first thing we're going to do is we need it directional. So we need it 5 1/4 inches tall. And I like this pattern down here better than up here. So I'm going to turn it this way and just cut off 3/4 of an inch from the top. So 5 1/4, right? And we're going to cut that off. So now we have 5 1/4 by 6. Okay, now I need 3 strips that are 1 inch long, and I'm going to use this side over here. I'm going to save this for a different, well, you'll see when I do it. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut 1 inch, and I'm using these measurements over here. So this is 1 inch by 5 1/4, and then I'm going to set it over here and kind of keep it directional so I know when I put it on my card to keep it in line, I guess, so my pattern stays the same. There's another 1 inch by 5 1/4, and then here's another 1 inch by 5 1/4. Now, if you're mystery stamping with me and I'm going too fast, you can always go to my YouTube channel and replay the video and pause and start and just watch here until you get the hang of mystery stamping, and then it won't be so bad. Okay, so now we need a piece that is 2 3/4 by 5. So this one I'm going to cut it here at 2 3/4, right? I'm not worried about keeping my pattern going. I want more of this kind of pattern on my card. So I'm going to cut off this little strip. And now this, you could either put on the inside of your card or throw it away. I don't know. So then I need 1 by 5. This is 5 1/4. I'm going to cut it down to 5. Again, I'm going to cut off this guide just like I did on these pieces, and so that it's 5 inches. So really, out of your 6 by 6, the only pieces we're not using is this little piece I just cut from there, and these 2 little strips there. So not much waste. We're going to use, if your paper was 6 by 6, most of it. Okay, let's go on. Now we have our designer series paper. Let's go on with the rest of our measurements and pieces that we need. We have this one, we have this one, we have this one. The next thing we need is either white or vanilla, whatever coordinates with your designer series paper. Mine is white, and I should have the pieces. Where'd they go? Maybe I don't. Okay, well, we're going to have to get a piece of cardstock because now I can't find my white pieces, but this is good. And of course, I'm going to have to open a whole new pack of white. Doesn't matter. Okay, now I will cut that together too, because I thought I had them cut already, but I guess I don't. But as soon as the video's over, I will find them. Okay, so the first one we need is 5 by 2.5. So I'm going to just cut my cardstock here. Let's just cut a piece of 5. And then I can use that scrap. 5 by 2.5. And then we need another piece that is 3 3/4 by 2.5. So let's go 2.5. And then 3 3/4. Okay, now we have all our pieces of paper that we'll need until we start to decorate the front of our card. We're done with this because we have all of our paper cut. So as you noticed, or maybe you didn't notice, I'm going to tell you, this piece of white fits perfect right here, and this piece of white fits perfect right here. Okay? So that's interesting or handy to know. Okay, the first thing we're going to do though is we're going to take our 3 strips here and we're going to add them to our card front. So I have mine folded in half like this, and you can see that this one will fit perfect right there, this one will fit perfect right here, and this one will put perfect right here. And I think it's easier to see how your card goes together if you have those 3 pieces of designer series paper onto your card front. So let's do that now. And I'm going to just use tape. Whatever adhesive you have handy, I think that's what you should use. You don't need a strong adhesive. It's not like anybody's, well, I don't think anybody's going to try to peel off, whoop, it's upside down. Try to peel off your designer series paper, but it's not going to hold any weight. So just like that. There's one. Now I got tape on my glass mat. Do I do that all the time? Yes, I do. Put this one here, and you can see that my seam here is still in line because I kept those papers lined up. And then this one's going to go right here. Okay, I'm going to one more time fold those lines before we, or fold those, I'm gonna fold the score lines, there we go, one more time, just to make sure they're really nice and crisp. There we go. Okay, so now to adhere our card front together, we're gonna fold back so you only see one of your designer series paper, and then you have this 1/2 inch tab right here. We're going to put adhesive on that 1/2 inch tab. I'm going to use tear and tape. I believe it's fast and easy. So if I just put tear and tape, liquid glue, CO+, probably regular tape runner would work, but I want something strong there so that it will hold. And I'm going to just take and remove that tear and tape. Now remember, we have our card like this. We have just one strip of that designer series paper, our adhesive on that 1/2 inch tab. We're going to just take our card like this and we're going to just fold it over and close it like that. And then give this a good back rub and get that adhesive stuck down, and now you have a card that has an end of this. Now make sure it goes this way. Make sure it goes this way, and now it can go into an envelope, and you can also open it, or I'll show you what we're going to do next. Okay? All right. Now let's bring back in this piece. This was the 10.5 by 2 3/4 scored at 5 1/4. We're going to take this piece and we're going to adhere it right here to this section. See where we have our last strip of designer series paper? Here's 1, 2, and 3. We're going to put this piece right here. And there again, I'm going to use really strong adhesive because we'll be opening this and pulling on this, and I don't want it to come off of my card. So I'm going to use tear and tape on that too. Now, I think, no, you know, I'm not going to use tear and tape. Change my mind. I'm going to use liquid glue, and then that way, if I need to, I can slide it into place. So let's just put a little bit of liquid glue on here. And then that way, if I need to slide it around, because the liquid glue gives you a little bit of wiggle room, we can slide it into place. And it should have that same border, just like our designer series paper. There it goes, just like that. And then you can guess this piece. This is 2.5 by 5. This is going to go, and look, I cut it wrong. Ah, so much for that. It's 2.5, and I bet you I told you 2 3/4, and I did. It's 2.5. My bad. Wonder if it said that. Let's check my instruction. Oh, there's no measurements for the designer series paper. I will fix that on the measurements on my gallery. Bummer. Okay, 2.5 by 5, and that is going to go right there. Phew, thank goodness I didn't cut it 2 1/4, and I had a chance to cut that little piece down. Okay, we're going to just take this and put this right here. And really, this piece of designer series paper is the same size as this white piece. So if you have any doubt, that's how you'll know if you cut it right. This one here. And you guessed it, this one goes inside here. Now, if you want to stamp and decorate this piece, I would do it before we place it in that, or in here. But because we're doing mystery stamping, my card's going to be very simple. Now, the samples that I have to show you when we're done, they have stamping and decorating, not quite so simple. I think they're really fun. Okay, so right here, we're going to place this in here. And then you notice when you have your card here, it comes like this. This is how you put it in an envelope. You open it this way, and then you can flip this up, and this is where you'd write your message. Pretty cute, right? Okay, so I'm going to finish up. And I'm going to go ahead and finish the card, and then I'm going to decorate this, but I'll show you so you know what the card's going to look like. You'll know how you want to decorate your... Thanks, Connie. You'll know how to decorate your front of your card. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my dimensionals. I guess I'm going to use black because that's what's handy. I'm going to lay my card here. Now I have it open, closed all the way like what it would be like in an envelope. And I'm going to just set my cardstock here, this piece, so I know where my dimensionals go. And they're only going to go on this strip right here. Hi, Mary. Thank you for watching. Okay, so here we go. And I am not going to spare the dimensionals because they might be pulling on this to open and close the card, I guess you would say. So I'm going to make sure it's adhered really well. So Mary, if you get a chance, because Mary was at the team meeting where we did the mystery stamping, maybe you could share your card in the comments. What do you think? Okay, we're going to set this one here and this one here. And Mary, you might share, did you like mystery stamping? I think Mary likes to mystery stamp. Okay, now I'm going to make sure when I put this onto my dimensionals, it's going to be centered on the front of our card, because that way when my recipient, that's a big word for me, takes it out of the envelope, it'll look like this. Okay, so there's your card. Really, that's our mystery stamping. Now we just need to decorate. Okay, I'm going to take this piece. Now for my card, I want to emboss this piece. So we have these new online exclusive embossing folders, and I'm going to use the leaf. There's also candy canes and little bats. They are super cute. I don't know if you can see them there, but if you need a nice set of embossing folders for all occasion, this would be it. And they're mini folders, so they're going to fit in our mini cut and emboss machine. Now I'm going to take my paper. Stampin' Up! Has this line on their embossing folder, and in this case it might not matter if my paper's straight in my embossing folder, but when you have a pattern that is, that's how you get your paper straight, by lining it up with that little line. Alright, now I have to find my, here they are, my plates. We don't need number 3, we need a number 1, oops, and we need a number 2, and then I'll put my embossing folder. Because these are not 3D, they are just standard embossing folders, I'm going to just center it between those 2 clear plates. Bring in my little guy here and run that through. Did I use too many? Okay, that's not right. We only need 1 plate. That's good, Kathy. 1 plate, plate 1 and plate 2. Does that, no, that's not enough. Am I confused? Yes, I am. I've got to use my, ask me how long it's been since I've used my little guy. Might have been a while. But he's not. Oh, never mind. I don't need either one of these plates. I need number 1 and number 3. I will teach you what not to do instead of what to do. There we go. I just need number 1 and number 3 with the standard embossing folder. Yay! It probably says that on the instructions somewhere, but who reads the directions nowadays? Okay, so now, after all of that, look how pretty my paper is embossed. This pretty picture, Rod? Look, it's over here now. Well, really what I could have done is I could have turned the paper over and put the other side on these here, but I decided to keep it that way. You still see the pretty picture over here. That makes me feel a little better. But it is pretty designer series paper, isn't it? Okay, now for my card, I'm going to take a piece of that Secrecy, and I just have a scrap here, and I'm going to cut it down to 5/8 of an inch by 2.5. This is a little trick because I want to tie linen thread around my cardstock, and when you emboss the paper, it kind of gets a little bit more flimsy. It has so much texture on there. So if you need to tie linen thread or baker's twine or ribbon around a piece of embossed paper, I suggest you put a little strip of paper like this. Now, if you don't want a little strip of paper like this on the front, just go ahead and adhere it onto the back, but it makes it a little bit more sturdy and probably much easier to tie a bow like I'm going to attempt to do now around your cardstock. I think I'm going to wrap around here that many times. Was that 3? Just so we get some nice texture on there. And then I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to attempt to tie a bow. So I'm going to tie a double knot. Wait, let me use the assistance of my tweezers here. And I'll hold that knot like a third hand with my tweezers, tie a double knot. I hope I left myself enough room with my linen thread. There we go. And then I'll just tie a little bow here. Ooh, that looks pretty good. Let's just leave it just like that. What do you think? Maybe a little bit smaller. That looks pretty good. I'm going to leave it just like that. Trim my ends. Maybe we'll leave it nice and stringy. We might have to cut those down just a little bit to see. Okay, now for my greeting, I'm going to use the banner sayings and the coordinator banner punch. And I think this is a triple banner. I don't remember the name of this. If you need me to look it up, let me know and I can tell you. However, if you go to my gallery for measurements, the supply list will be on there too. Okay, here's my scrap of cloud cover. I'm going to just punch out all 3, and then we can decide which one we want to use, because the happy birthday is what I took out of the stamp set, fits on all of them, and I think I'm going to go with this one. So I guess we're not going to decide, I'm going to decide. I'm going to use Secret Sea ink just because that's the color of my cardstock, and I usually like to go with the darker color instead of the lighter color. For some reason I like my sentiments dark. I'm going to pull this down here so that I can see a little better. Probably get my head in the camera, and then stamp that little happy birthday right there. Ooh. Is it crooked? I think it's a little crooked, but you know what? I think I'm okay with that. I don't think people look at my card and think, oh my gosh, look, her sentiment is crooked. But maybe they do. I think we talked about that last week, about having to make your cards perfect or not perfect. All right, now here I have cut a few little pieces. This is from the Sweetest Words label dies, and they have these little pieces here that are acorns, and they have these pieces here that are leaves. I've cut them out of the leaves out of Mossy Meadow, like this, the 3 of them, and then I've cut the base of my acorn with pecan pie and the top of my acorn with early espresso. And I'm going to just use my silicone mat here to glue them, these little pieces together. So, and I'm going to add the glue to the bigger piece. I just think it's easier that way. Ooh, a lot of glue. Did you see that? This would be a good trick to show you. If you get like me and you have way too much glue on there, you can do one of 2 things. You can take and wipe this on the cardstock. Let me make sure I have it the right way, this way. So I can just add this glue here. If you're not gluing another piece like that, you can just wipe it on your silicone mat, and then just so it doesn't ooze everywhere, it will get rid of some of that extra glue. Okay, then our little acorn top, like that. And when it cuts out the acorn, there's 2, like I said, 2 sizes of the top and 2 sizes of the bottom. Look how cute those are. Okay, let's do this one, see if I can put less glue on this one. And they have these 2, I don't know if you can see them right here, probably not, but they have 2 little lines on them that you know that that's the bottom. And I'm going to turn them around here, because my man hands don't do so well with little tiny pieces of cardstock. In fact, if I get my tweezers might help, but I'm too lazy for that. I just struggle. You can watch me struggle trying to put my little acorn caps onto my acorns. But I thought with this kind of scene of the woods and stuff, or the outdoors, I thought some acorns and leaves might be good as embellishments on my card. There we go. Now, I'll lift it up, you see if you can see how cute those little acorns are. And here I have a little bit of extra glue. I'm going to just use my pokey tool and rub that glue off, and now we're good to go. All right, let's go ahead and finish up and decorate our card. So my sentiment, let me spread out my linen thread here so it gives it a nice, I don't know, what would you call that there? I think that looks better, not quite so hidden. And then I'm going to put dimensionals on the, no, you know, I'm going to put glue dots. I'm going to use glue dots on my sentiment. I'm going to just put 3 right here down the center. I think this would hold on better to that linen thread too. And I'm going to just set it right there. And this is a 1/2 inch. That's why I cut my little blue strip at 5/8. That just gives it an 1/8 of an inch border all the way around. But look how cute that is. Now let's take, I'm going to use my bone folder and kind of just curl my leaves just a little bit. See how I put my thumb and my bone folder like that? Thumb behind, bone folder front, and just gives it a little bit of curve. Not too much. And then a little bit of liquid glue. This is the big one. I want to put the big one on first. I don't know, we'll see how this looks. This is all crafting on the fly. There we go. And it can hang off the edge a little bit as long as it still, well, it has a long way. Look, if it hung off all this area here before, your card wouldn't fit in the envelope. So, and that's the important thing, is that our card fits in the envelope. Now this is the smaller one, right? Yep. I'm going to just take this and tuck that under my linen thread too. And I think that looks stinking cute. Now I'm going to put this on, one of them, the little one on, I think with the dimensional. I'm going to see how that looks. And if it doesn't look good, I'll peel that dimensional off. But I think I want the little one on with the dimensional. And the big one, I'm going to glue flat. Take that little acorn and maybe set him here. There we go. And then my dimensional will go right here, right there on the side. And there you go. What do you think? Looks pretty cute, right? Okay, now we just need to take this. I'm going to just use liquid glue again. And I'm going to add this to the front of our card. And I think I felt my leaves move. They might not be dry. We'll see if I messed them up or if I need to fix them again. A little bit of glue on there, and then we're going to stick this right here. Oh yeah, I think that looks really good. So there you go. There's my card. The only thing we have left is embellishments. So we have that opens this way. Although look, this is plain. Let's put these extra pieces on the inside. There is a hair stuck to my card. All right, I'll get rid of that later too. That's embarrassing. Let's just put this down. Now I know, well, no, I was going to say it's going to add some bulk to the inside, but it'll lay flat when I give it. There, I got the hair off of my card. And then we'll just lay down these little acorns too on the inside. That'll be cute. Kind of bring the front into the inside of the card and make it fun. We can't have him straight. He has to be a little crooked. And then this one. A little more. So you have to let me know what you think. Do you like mystery stamping? Did anybody stamp along with me? There we go. Look how cute that turned out. And that closes like this. All right, let's get our embellishments real quick, and then I'll show you all the other samples that I have to share. And like I said, I think I counted 8. So there's a lot of samples that might be fun to look at. These are the Moody glossy dots, which I think go with everything. I'm going to use, should I use the dark blue or the light blue? I think I'm going to use, really the light blue is called Cloud Cover. But I think I'm going to just add a couple right there, and then put a little one on there too. Maybe right, yeah, sure, what the heck. And then we'll put a big one down here. And there we go. Okay, pretty simple. There we go. And then when you open your card, it looks like this, and then you put your greeting right there. And yet when you close it, it still fits in an envelope. And you know, now I have to fix one thing. There we go. Now my bow wasn't the same length on both sides, but now it is. Okay, so that's the one we made today. Let me show you some other samples. I told you I used that the same designer series paper from that pack and made another card, and that's what this looks like. Now this one, this is the other side. This is one side of the paper, and this is the other side. So when I cut it, I just flipped it over. It's mystery stamping because, Connie, if you cut out all your pieces, you would stamp with me and your card would look totally different. So you don't know what you're coming up with because you saw the measurements beforehand. And so that's why the card is a mystery, because you don't know what's going to come or what you're going to make. I guess that's why it's called mystery stamping. I hope that makes sense. Next week, or next month, I guess, when we do mystery stamping, you could cut your cardstock, the measurements I give you, and then it'll be a mystery as to what your card's going to look like. There, maybe that's a better. Hi, Glenda. Maybe someone else can help me explain mystery stamping better than I can. Okay, let's move on. So this card, this is the designer series paper from that same pack. I put just a little thing. Thank you, Connie. From this is the Nature Symphony stamp set and dies, and I thought it coordinated really pretty with that rose color, or that rose paper. So there's that one. And then how's this one look? And I can't remember the name of this bundle, but this one, instead of decorating the front, I just used the designer series paper. They have these special cutouts that you can use for card fronts, and that one worked just perfect. And this one opens like this. Isn't that pretty? I had so much fun making these, it's not even funny. Thank you, Glenda. I like all my cards. This one is the product of the month. There again, I used a little piece of the ephemeras just to put a greeting on there. This is the stamp sets, or the, I can't remember the name of that. I can't remember the name of the stamp set now. I have video fog in my brain. But this one opens up like this, and then a little bit more ephemera in there, and then the little stamp from the stamp set. Isn't that cute? Love that one. Well, I like them all. Here's one a little bit different. This one, I even foiled a little bit. So I foiled here with the greeting. That's one foil bundle. I foiled here with the Swiss dots, and then I put another greeting on the inside that has the foil. And this just brings out the gold in the designer series paper. Isn't that pretty? And this one, I used designer series paper as the front instead of that piece of white. Okay, good deal. Okay, ready for some more? So we have to have a Pooh Bear card. Look how cute this one is using the Pooh. So this one, instead of using a rectangle, I just used those die cuts from the Sweet Words dies. And then you open it up like this. There's Pooh again climbing on the tree. And then look at the inside on that one. Isn't that cute? You gotta love that Pooh. And this is the designer series paper from the Pooh Bear too. Okay, two more, and then we'll be done. This one. Now this is the designer series paper from the jar set, and of course sweet jars, something like that. I'll look it up if you need to know. This is the die set from something Seams. Oh well, if you want to know what they are, but it's just the same kind of card. Look how cute that is. This is part of the designer series paper, and I couldn't help but to put that on the inside to write on. It looks like that. And I love how these dies layer. Really cute with the little ladybug too. So there's that card. And then the last one, how many are we up to? A lot? The last one might be my favorite, but I'm not sure. And it's that new Halloween suite. And you take it like this, and you open it up, and looky there. So here's the designer series paper. This is the back side of that designer series paper. These are the bats. That's the die cuts. This is the stamp of that suite. Oh My Fright is the name of the bundle, I think. And then here's a little more die cuts, the tree and the ghost. And then look how cute those little bat embellishments on there. You gotta love those too. So there you go. That's it. That's all my samples. Let's try to find the card I made tonight. So now, you know, first time mystery stamping on Sunday, the Sunday after the second Tuesday after my team meeting. I'll post the measurements on my Facebook group, Be Creative with Kathy. You can get those measurements, cut your cardstock, or at least prepare it. We'll probably cut a lot of it together. And then on Monday night, after the second Tuesday, the Monday after the second Tuesday, if that makes sense, because my team meeting on Tuesday when we mystery stamp, then I'll mystery stamp with you guys. And we'll see, it might be fun, and who knows, we'll see what happens. It's trying something new, but we have fun at the team meeting with the mystery stamping. Alrighty, I think that's all I have for you. I'm looking around, make sure I announced everything. Nope, I think that's it. Hope I didn't forget anything. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you back here next Monday about 7 o'clock. Ooh, and I have paper pumpkin for you. My paper pumpkin was delivered, so we'll look at a little bit of paper pumpkin alternatives next Monday night. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.